We were somewhere around Barstow, on the edge of the desert, when the drugs began to take hold.
You're either in or you're out. Right now.
I want to gamble.
I never want to hear those words out of your mouth again.
Gambling is not your problem.
Has anybody ever told you before you're bad luck?
Most gamblers, when they go to gamble, they go to win.
Those were my mother's dying words.
When we go to gamble, we go to lose. Show me the money.
Get out of here, man.
Week 15 is here, gentlemen. Santa and my little hose. I mean, elves. How you guys
meant
doing
hose.
This morning?
You meant hose. You got that one right the first time.
Doing good.
You know, truthfully, I'm still kind of a little sore. Last week, I felt like I was in prison, getting just unwanted backdoor after backdoor after backdoor. I'm still tender this week, but maybe we'll get the bounce back.
I need a bounce back, guys. I was big on the Chargers. I was big on the Patriots. But that's the thing about gambling, right? I mean, things come around. Last week, Derek just continues to clean house. Guys, if you're following anyone on this show, follow Derek. He was, believe it or not, at one time below 500. He's been on an absolute tear. JC turned it around too. But we all know you guys come from Marcus and I, so it's okay. Speaking of that, there is kind of a Marcus and Derek special here in the first game we're going to cover here in week 15. Down in sunny Florida, Jacksonville is a favorite in an NFL game, not preseason, in an NFL regular season game. Jacksonville, 3-point favorites hosting Houston. Marcus, for the people, break down this game.
Can we just make this one pretty simple? Urban Meyer's gone. You get a kind of a fresh slate. It's going to be something very similar to what happened with Vegas. John Gruden goes, the poison, like all the distractions, all the headaches are gone. Trevor Lawrence, this is going to be their time between Darrell Bevell, who's got plenty of experience in the NFL. You need a big day out of Trevor Lawrence, and I'm kind of expecting it. But Jaguars roll, and the city just moves on and saves grace for a little bit.
Teeing Derek up to his man crush over here. Let's talk about players in this game.
Yeah, for me, it's always a Braden Cooks week, so let's just get that out of the way. It's always going to be a Braden Cooks week. But most importantly, I think James Robinson goes fucking off.
Yes.
He's been kind of the player.
Speak to me.
He's been kind of the player at the middle of this controversy. With usage, and that's kind of what was the wedge between Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, and playing time, and he's definitely the best offensive player they have right now. I think he goes off. Carlos Hyde, who's been vulturing a lot of his touches, especially on the goal line, is out.
He's out. Yep.
It's going to be a Robinson fucking just. It's going to be the James Robinson show today.
So for those that don't know, Trevor Lawrence had to go up to Urban Meyer asking, why is James Robinson not playing? Like that was a real conversation that had to go on during the sidelines. The fact that a quarterback has to go and talk to his head coach about that is
a rookie quarterback
is just insanity. But yeah, I love James Robinson anytime touchdown today. You can get plus money at that. So I think his usage is going to be through the charts because Urban Meyer is gone, because Carlos Hyde is out. I think James Robinson is an absolute beast. And then it wouldn't be a betting and beer show if we didn't talk Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is a Jaguar killer. I mean, there's a lot of Jaguar killers, but Brandon Cooks is especially a Jaguars killer. He's had over 83 yards the past 5 times he's played the Jaguars. And guys, his over-under number is only 61.5. That's 22 yards over what he is lowest output. Hammer Brandon Cooks over yardage. Hammer Brandon Cooks in your DFS.
I didn't even look at these, and I feel like we're on the same page here. I love it.
And hammer the over. I love the over today. 39.5. Just weird points. I don't see Jacksonville's defense really isn't good enough to I don't care who's terrible at quarterback for Houston. This game should easily. They both just should flirt with 20 points plus.
Neither team has a
get the over.
rosterable defense. Like, honestly, like
Yeah.
both defenses are atrocious. There will be points in these games. 39.5 is one of the more laughable lines. All right, let's jump to a kind of a big game in the AFC. Honestly, two teams lobbying for playoff position. Not that either team really deserves to be in the playoffs. It's kind of the funny thing with 7 teams in the playoffs is you're going to get kind of these middling teams involved. But Cincinnati going to Denver, going to Mile High. Denver a 1.5 favorite, so extremely close game. Marcus and I are both on Denver. Derek and JC are on Cincinnati. Marcus, tell us why we're going to gain a game on Derek.
Well, the Bengals have been exposed. Yeah, they had a nice late comeback to make it a game, force overtime at home against the 49ers, who I'm still kind of torn on. Denver's just going to pound the ball down their throats. This should be a low-scoring game. As wrong as I've been about Jamar Chase, you're probably going to see 1 or 2 drops and 1 or 2 just big flash plays. Won't be enough. Melvin Gordon's going to feast. Broncos roll, and Bengals will start trickling back down to where they belong.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what Derek thinks. Melvin Gordon is back, everyone. That means the reign of Javonte Williams is gone. I mean, if you had Javonte Williams, either DFS or regular fantasy, he cleaned up. But for some reason, the big dumb Vic Fangio believes in Melvin Gordon. So I'm with Marcus. I think Melvin Gordon gets back in the stat sheet today. Derek, what are you doing with some of the skill position guys in this game?
So I'm a little worried about the whole Gordon and Javonte dynamic. I think that one from really cashing in on starting them, especially in a DFS format, is going to come down to who finds the end zone, and those end zone carries can be kind of hit or miss, and you don't know, if it's a long one that gets them down there and a guy's winded and the other guy punches it in the first play. Those are going to be kind of hard to predict. The running back I do love is Mixon, though. I think he's got to get going. He's got to be part of the game plan if they're going to have a chance in this game, and I think everybody knows that. Higgins, another guy I need Jamar Chase to have a big day, but I think he's going to have Surtain following him around, so who knows? A little rookie on rookie action there. So
Yeah, Higgins has gotten over 83 yards. 83 seems to be the number of the day today. Over 83 yards the past 3 games. Higgins is heating up. I agree. I think Chase is going to be covered all day today. I don't like Chase. But there's been 3 automatics this year. Lenny Fournette, James Conner, and Mixon. And I'm with you, Derek. I think Mixon absolutely cleans up. He scored 9 out of 10 games. I really only take plus money when it comes to touchdown scorers. Negative money just kind of doesn't make sense. But he scored 9 out of his past 10 games. Like, Mixon has almost been as automatic gets. So I'm taking Mixon to score, and I'm taking Melvin Gordon to score just because his usage is weird. Melvin Gordon's not good. He hasn't been good for 3 or 4 years, but he's clearly involved in that offense.
Yeah, he finds the end zone. That's all that matters.
Exactly. He finds the end zone. This will be a really interesting game, guys. If I'm you guys, I'm plugging into this game because I think it's gonna be a really good one. Let's jump up to the East Coast now and go to a game that I don't think is going to be a good game. It's one of the weirder ones, and it makes me feel better that we're all on the same side of this. Green Bay going to Baltimore. Baltimore only getting 5 points. A Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore playing what I think is a top 5 team in the league in Green Bay. Marcus, break this game down for us.
Well, fortunately now Baltimore, it could be a little bit closer than we think. Baltimore's not been terrible against the run. A lot of teams aren't really banging out a lot of carries. I think the teams are only running about 20, 21 times against them per game. But at least Baltimore now with Lamar Jackson out will have someone that can consistently get down the field. We were just Andrews, best game he's had in a while last week. Green Bay's really good. This fuck you tour is just going perfectly. Like, we couldn't have asked for much more from Aaron Rodgers. They're just going to blow up Baltimore. And
are we talking MVP Aaron Rodgers, Derek?
We're not.
I don't think we should. Even if it's from a quarterback standpoint, I still think Brady's put up a better year. But I think this is the year where there's not a clear-cut quarterback favorite. Jonathan Taylor MVP. It has to be.
It would be beautiful. Well, now, one thing I will say about Baltimore, and truthfully, the rest of the AFC North, right now, it has the. Remember last year, the NFC East, it's like nobody wanted to win. Everyone just kept finding ways to stay teetering. It's kind of what's happening in the AFC North right now.
A lot of meh. A lot of just eh.
A lot of eh. And your parlay later is going to kind of perfectly solidifies, which we'll get into that later, what we're talking about in the North. But it's going to be a tight race all the way down to Week 18.
Yep. I got some props for this game before we go to Derek real quick. Rodgers just been killing it, guys. I know you guys are fading him on MVP, but I think he's been the best quarterback the last month of football. And he's rounding into shape like he normally does at this time of the year. He hasn't had lower than 292 yards, yet Vegas only has his over-under at 265. That is something I'm hammering. I'm hammering Aaron Rodgers. Baltimore doesn't have any corners. Like, they're one of the most injured teams in the league. They legit don't have any corners. And Huntley can only throw about 8 yards, which is perfect, which is about 8 yards more than Lamar, right, Marcus?
Pretty much consistently, yeah.
So I like Andrews. I like Rodgers. Anyone else you like in this game? Are you digging Adams? You digging Freeman? Anyone else you're digging in this game? Derek?
I mean, I think Mark Andrews is kind of a no-brainer. I don't. This is another one of those situations where like one of those running backs is going to be good. I just don't know which one. So, from a DFS format, I'm trying to stay away. I just for some reason I'm on this AJ Dillon train, and I think we get toward the back half of this season, the weather starts getting a little colder. We get playoff football, and they unleash that 250-pound beast, AJ Dillon. The one thing I'm keeping an eye on though is Lamar Jackson is still questionable for this game. There's still a chance he plays.
He ain't playing. He's not playing.
Okay, I'm just saying. I've seen a lot of reports that it's still very much in the air. He has a chance to play, is what a lot of people are saying.
If Lamar can't run, what can he do, Derek?
I mean, I assume if they let him play, then he can run. I don't think they would let him play if he can't run. I think that's what the determination is.
Yeah,
you're right. I mean, he's not a pocket passer.
If this was, he's definitely out 7%. If it's September, he's definitely out. Right now, because the playoffs are kind of in the line and in their grasp, you have to at least have some hope and push for what you can. I just don't see it happening.
Baltimore's going to get tons of help because everyone else loses today. Here we go. Let's jump to a weird division game here. A double digit. You don't see often rivalries, right? You guys are down in Tampa Bay country. This is definitely a rivalry. New Orleans getting 11 points. You guys are all on Tampa Bay. I'm feeling the backdoor cover. I feel this one is Marcus going to get backdoored again, like an episode of Oz. Walk us through this.
At least you're warning me this time. I can't bear it anymore. Now, New Orleans has struggled, man. They just keep struggling. They have nothing going on from the quarterback standpoint. It's nice having Alvin Kamara back, but what we've seen consistently out of this Bucs defense over the last 3 years, these versatile backs, Kamara, McCaffrey, anyone who's in there who can catch the pass, catch it, run it, they have the linebackers to handle it. They stuff it. They do a very good job there. It's just in between the tackles where they actually surprisingly struggled a little bit more than you'd expect. But Tampa's just so much better than them, and they're back in this hunt for the number one seed. Tampa's going to blow them out in an ugly fashion.
You see a blowout? Yeah, I do too. I mean, I really do think this is probably a 17-point game, and then we get a trash garbage time touchdown. I see something like 31-14, and then maybe a late New Orleans touchdown to make it maybe 31-21. Something like that. Derek, what about player-wise in this game?
This one's tough. I'm probably just going to go Mike Evans. Keep it easy. Keep it kind of vanilla. I think he probably gets in the end zone once or twice. From the rest of that receiving core, I mean, Godwin's had some really big volume days recently. Definitely another guy I would keep an eye on.
He's cleaned up since AB's went out. He's definitely funneled some of those AB targets.
You got to think Kamara gets involved still. PPR format, I still like him because they don't have much else. And you talk about guys who can't throw, and we never spend enough time talking shit about Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill's terrible.
I hate the timeline we're living in that Taysom Hill's a quarterback.
I think because there's no argument.
And
there's no argument there.
And he's getting paid $10 million a year to do it.
Taysom Hill's garbage. Yeah, Taysom Hill's garbage. Yeah, Taysom Hill's garbage. Okay, cool. Let's argue about something else.
Apparently, the only person who doesn't know is Sean Payton. So I don't know, but yeah,
top 10 coach Sean Payton.
From a Saints standpoint, I mean, honestly, though, Taysom Hill might still be rosterable in DFS just because the running touchdowns are valuable.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially if you look at some of the injured guys, Kyler's not 100%, Jalen's not 100%. If you're looking for running quarterbacks, you could do worse than Taysom Hill for sure.
Yep.
I like Kamara too. He found the end zone the last 5 games he's played. He's just a touchdown magnet, whether that's through the air or on the ground. And then again, yeah, Derek, to your point, Evans is clearly part of the game plan, as he should be. He dominates in home games. And New Orleans, who has talent in the secondary, is actually given the 3rd most yards to receivers, which was a surprising stat when I was in the lab last night looking at things. I was surprised to see that stat that their secondary gives up so many yards to receivers. So I'm hammering Evans over 62.5 yards because honestly, what's that, 4 grabs? Like he needs 4 catches to get 63 yards. I think that's pretty easily done.
Yeah, I mean the biggest matchup there obviously is Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. They've had some pretty good back of the years, man. So that could be the best matchup to watch of the day. Unfortunately, Cincinnati Denver is going to be the best game. Like Thursday and Saturday is pretty much all we could really ask for. It's just an ugly week. It's actually a really good Sunday to be doing early Christmas stuff elsewhere.
Oh ho ho!
Well, I mean, when half the games get moved to Tuesday.
All right, let's round out here with an ugly AFC North game. 2 teams that are pretty irrelevant. Minnesota going to Chicago. I don't know how this game hasn't gotten flexed, but Marcus, talk at me.
I don't know. This is just another terrible game. It's the one that you're happy that it's Monday night, so you can go to bed, get up early, fresh on Tuesday.
You watch first tutty, and that's it, right?
That's pretty much it.
You throw money on first tutty, and then as soon as you watch that, you go to bed.
Yeah, it is pretty much it, and you have to lean Justin Jefferson or Dalvin, but Jefferson still holds really good value there for first touchdown.
Derek, what about Montgomery? He's quietly had a great year. I know he's a little expensive, but I mean we've seen teams have success on the ground against Minnesota. What are you doing with Montgomery today?
I think you just kind of nailed it on the back end of that. Is he's crossed over into like the mainstream to where he's just kind of too expensive to play.
Yeah.
It's hard to take a guy like that who is there based on usage and volume and situation, not necessarily top end talent, and he's still embedded in a really bad fucking offense.
Yes.
So like any given week, they could go out and do nothing.
Poor Justin Fields, honestly.
Yeah, I he never really had a chance. Nagy's trash and that whole offense. That offensive line's bad. There's just no way around it. It's just not a very good offensive roster. And they're wasting some defensive primes on the other side of the ball because I think Roquan Smith and obviously Mac they're just unbelievable players.
Well, Mac's done for the year, I believe, too, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he's still under contract, unfortunately for him.
Under that big contract. Bold prediction: Minnesota steamrolls Chicago. Chicago fires Nagy. Zimmer gets an extension. All is well going into 2022.
I am not one to put in a lock, but if I had any lock this week, it would be Minnesota covering this. Like this is one of the easier games, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big day for Dalvin. I think it's going to be a big day for Justin Jefferson. I'm hoping that's kind of where it stops. Thielen, that's cool. I'm playing against Osborne in fantasy, so I'm trying to will him into a bad day. Another person that I would kind of keep an eye out for is Conklin. Chicago is really, really bad against tight ends, and Conklin is okay. He's got an okay skill set, kind of a replacement level tight end. But I think against this Bears defense, the way it sits today, I think maybe sneaks in for a touchdown or 2.
In competitive leagues, Conklin isn't available, but if you're in the playoffs and you need a guy, go get Conklin for sure. Like if you're in some 10 or some bad 12 league teams, go pick up Conklin. You could do way, 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 way worse.
Yeah, I got a breaking news text. KJ Osborne isn't going to get you shit.
No,
I don't want him to. I want him 0 points.
Going to get nothing.
I'm playing against him. I need 0 points from him.
Alrighty, let's jump into the only other game that matters. And this, again, wouldn't be Marcus and I if we didn't talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Tennessee Titans. Titans are a road favorite here this game. I mean, we talk about Tomlin specials on the negative. This is a Tomlin special on a positive, right? Like, this is just a game he wins because, oh, look at the Steelers still in the hunt, right, Marcus?
Well, I already called this shit out a while ago. Pittsburgh's going to win today. They're supposed to be letting Ben kind of open things up and control more of the offense, run no huddle, which is where they've been more successful. Steelers win today, lose 2 in a row, beat Baltimore week 18.
8-1, baby.
There we go.
Streak's still alive. Streak's still alive. Derek, this is a silly question, but are you touching Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Julio Jones, or are you just staying as far away from this game as possible?
To do with Julio Jones, because even if he plays, maybe he tweaks his hamstring and he's out, on the second drive of the game.
We saw how Jefferson and Osborne dominated that Steelers secondary. Like, wide receivers are a good play against the Steelers secondary.
Yeah, but it's still like Ryan Tannehill. I'm not worried about that. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think you're right. This is one of those classic Steelers find a way to edge it out at home kind of games.
This is a walk-off Bonds field goal.
There's nothing like a good edging. I could see that. Biggest play is, and one thing that we've seen over the years when it comes to Pittsburgh, Chase Claypool is going to be fucking fed today. He's going to be a great play for your DFS teams. I'm probably going to ride him in one of my first touchdown props. Kind of go back, force
Ben loves feeding the drama, right? Yep. Like, Claypool's been drugged through the mud, so here's Ben going to get.
He has a big day, either game-winning touchdown, just monstrous day. Yeah, he was down. He performed. That's all the good feel-good stories that you hear after those games
that are sickening. All right, let's jump to my parlay. Normally, guys, if you guys don't tune in, I normally give an underdog parlay, but we have 6 games that are double-digit favorites. There are just not enough dogs in the race, so I'm calling this is my Steeler parlay. This is my AFC North parlay. This is all money line, so I like the Steelers over the Titans. I like Green Bay over Baltimore. I like Denver over Cincinnati. If you want to flex one, it's honestly the Raiders over the Browns. It's a game I feel the least good about, but it's still the Browns, right? Like, are they starting Baker? Are they starting Keenum? Are they who knows who's lining up under center? So tomorrow. So I'm taking the AFC North parlay. It's going to pay out 9-1 plus 819. That's the parlay I'm running with. Marcus, what do you think about it?
I'm on board with that. We were touching on it earlier in the show. This is the division that nobody wants to win, unfortunately. So this would be the perfect Christmas present to keep our hearts racing a little bit longer. Steelers fans die young, but I'm sure a lot of teams in the AFC North do too. We're cutting years off all of our lives.
Yep, just dragging it along. Derek, is there? Do you like that parlay? Is there any other games you'd switch out?
I don't. I would switch out the Browns one. I think they're going to get healthy before that game happens. I would switch.
Who are you replacing? You put Minnesota? Are you putting? Who are you taking out for Cincinnati? Jacksonville.
No, I don't think anybody we talked about. I feel really good about the ones we picked. I don't think there's a lot of chance for underdogs there. I would have to look at the other lines to see who I'd put in instead.
Yeah.
To be honest.
All right. Yeah. No worries. All right. Let's jump to my touchdown parlay. Because, guys, Marcus, I'm totally a guy to pat myself on the back, so I'm going to pat myself on the back. I've been crushing anytime touchdowns. So it's literally matter of days before I get this parlay right.
And before I'll let you into this, so I got a text last night from Brandon's wife. She goes, "He fucking calls this interception again. He's on fire." I was like, "I know, we've been killing it. We're calling some very sick plays Thursday night." But my favorite text from Sasha, which I'm sure you can appreciate this and bring it back to her. She says, and I quote, "He needs to fucking bet more."
I gotta love that the support the degenerate that I am also would be with a degenerate wife. She's the best. Let's go into my touchdown parlay. I think Kyler against Detroit just eats today because everyone feasts against So I could see him doing a nice little scamper into the end zone against Detroit. We talked about Mixon. We talked about Evans. We talked about Andrews. So I don't need to break down that anymore. But I like all of those guys to score all pretty easily. That's plus 2,300, guys. That's 24-1. And these are all studs, right, Derek? Like, none of this is like I'm reaching for a guy. These are all guys that we are pretty known commodities so far this year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just got to hope it comes home. And then that's really all it comes down to, because these are guys that all should score.
Absolutely. Any first tutties, any anytime touchdowns, Marcus?
Some players I do like today. Mike Gesicki. Do like obviously Chase Claypool. I think he just has to get in there, whether it's the first or the last touchdown. It's going to be one of those two. I actually really, really, really like Trevor Lawrence to run in the first touchdown for Jacksonville. Big celebration, huge odds when it comes to him running it in.
You love storylines, right? Like that's a storyline that I think we're all rooting for.
Yeah, for sure. And those are kind of some of my favorites as far as first tutties go.
I like Everett this week, Gerald Everett. I think he has got a good matchup. As far as what can they cover? Jalen Ramsey, is going to lock it, or Metcalf, whoever they put him on. And if we're ever going to see the emergence of Rondale Moore, it's going to be this week.
Fucking love Rondale. He's a Purdue guy, but I still love him. He's electric. One game I wanted to ask about, because I'm actually getting some text and some social media questions on this one. What about Cowboy skill receivers today going into the Meadowlands? Do we like Lamb? Do we like Cooper? Do we like Zeke, Derek?
So from a top end standpoint, I like Lamb the most. I think he has the most talent. I think he has the most home run ability. From a value standpoint, Dak still loves Gallup, and he's going to get a good target share. He's still going to get his 7-8 targets. So I think in DFS format, if you're looking for a cheap guy, Gallup's the guy. But if you're looking for kind of a bell cow to put it on, I definitely think CeeDee Lamb. And if you're taking a Dallas running back, it's Tony Pollard. It's not Zeke.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. One last question for you, Derek, until we round it home with Marcus. What about Kyle Pitts? I played Kyle Pitts over Hunter Henry last night. I'm kicking myself. Are we expecting anything from Kyle Pitts today going into San Francisco?
It's
not
tough.
bad.
It's tough. Warner's is a stud. That's probably who he's going to be having underneath him. Atlanta refuses to really use him the way they should be, and flexing him out like the old Jimmy Graham style, where he's basically just a tight receiver. You got to think. I mean, that front seven's hard to run the ball on. I don't think Cordarrelle gets it done. If you're going to see a Pitts day, this makes sense for a Pitts day, but he's just been so inconsistent. It's hard for me to plant my flag on a big Pitts day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, last one, because we got to get going here as it's creeping up. Let's talk Tuesday football, Marcus. We got Russell Wilson, we got Cooper Kupp, we got Jalen Hurts. What are you expecting out of the Tuesday slate?
I'm not really expecting too much. The Rams need this win, I think, as far as teams that must wins. Obviously, a lot of these teams are in the must wins. We get two games. We have two games on Monday now with Vegas, Cleveland. But as far as Rams go, they should just fucking shut the doors on Seattle.
Cooper Kupp might have a 30-40 point day against that Seahawks secondary.
He always can. But I'm also very interested to watch Jalen Hurts come back from his injury. Obviously, they get a little bit of extra time, but not a great showing. Actually, pretty damn terrible showing in his previous game. So. This is crunch time, especially for the NFC East. Everyone's battling, but I'm expecting a big daily performance out of Jalen Hurts there.
For sure, guys. All righty. As it approaches 11 o'clock here, we're going to get going. As always, you can follow us at Beers and Bets. We're here every Sunday. Marcus, Derek, have a great day, guys.
Yep.